Billionaire hides wealth to test family. What his wife revealed is heartwarming and life-changing. John Thompson was living the American dream. A billionaire tech mogul in his 40s, he had it all: money, power, a beautiful family, and a cozy home in a friendly suburb of Ohio. But beneath the polished surface, he was plagued by a gnawing fear that his children's understanding of hard work had faded behind piles of cash. Would they value the grit, perseverance, and humility that had once defined his upbringing? At family dinners, laughter filled the air, and their table was a feast of gourmet delights. However, John couldn't shake the feeling that wealth had insulated his kids from reality. Ella, bright and ambitious, often dreamed of attending the best colleges. Jake, a cheerful soccer star, was deeply involved in community service. Yet John's heart ached at the thought that they might not grasp the true fabric of American values shaped through struggle and dedication. In a moment of desperation, John devised a bold plan. He began taking on low-paying jobs to disguise their affluence, dragging along Sarah, his wife, who had always devoted herself to the family. One day, she found herself fielding phone calls for utility bills and sifting through grocery deals, shocked at how quickly their lifestyle shifted from lavish dinners to frugal meals. Her world turned upside down. "How can we manage?" she wondered, her brow furrowing as she recalibrated their plans, but as uncertainty swirled, something beautiful emerged. The family began to bond over simple meals, forced to work together as they tackled everyday tasks. They embraced their neighbors, attended community potlucks, and made bake sales a family affair. John watched as Ella's laughter blended with Jake's playful banter again, each connection becoming a fragile thread weaving them closer. There was a warmth, a sense of belonging igniting in their hearts that wealth rarely touched, yet with the heartwarming moments came tension. When Ella suggested dropping out of school to help pay bills, John's heart sank. This wasn't what he wanted. Struggling to watch his children grapple for purpose, John felt a mix of pride and worry. Would they find satisfaction in hard work, or would they resent their situation? One evening, as storm clouds cast shadows over their dinner table once filled with jovial chatter, Sarah's intuition kicked in. Something was off. She pieced together John's secret. Her heart broke, filled with betrayal and sorrow. "How could you?" Her voice trembled, a tightness in her chest. John looked at her with regret, his own heart heavy. She could see the intention behind his plan but grappled with what it meant for their family. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Sitting in silence, raw emotions filled the air, thick as fog. They faced an uncertain crossroads, family bonds hanging in the balance between unity and manipulation. Each gaze a labyrinth of unspoken truths. They wondered if they could ever return to the joy they once knew. As the night wore on, John's heart raced. Could he find redemption in the wreckage of his choices? Would Sarah still see the man she loved, now tangled in this web of deception? In the shadows of their breaking illusions, the family stood at the edge, unsure of what the next chapter would bring. John sat in the dim light of the dining room, the air thick with unresolved emotions. Silence reigned, but it was heavy, like an anchor dragging them deeper into despair. He couldn't shake his shame. He had wanted to teach them a lesson about hard work, but all it had led to was heartbreak. Sarah's voice broke the quiet, soft yet firm. "You need to tell me everything." The words hung between them, a fragile thread holding back the storm. John took a deep breath, feeling the swell of regret rising in his chest. I wanted them to understand," he started, struggling to articulate the tangled mess of his intentions. "I thought if they lived without the safety net, they'd learn the value of money, of hard work. I thought it would bring us closer. And this was your version of teaching them? By putting us through this? Sarah's eyes filled with hurt, and it pierced through John like 1,000 needles. Please, try to see it from my perspective. I was scared, Sarah. I watched them slip into a world where things came easy, where they didn't appreciate what they had, and I felt powerless to change it. I thought a knot tightened in his stomach as he struggled against the guilt. They've lost so much, John, she interrupted, the grief in her voice palpable. The simplicity of it all. You wanted to teach them humility, but instead, you've torn our family apart. John cast his gaze downward, shame washing over him like a cold wave. He recalled the smiles that used to warm their home. How did they fade so quickly under the weight of his misguided choices? Ella broke the tension, her bright voice cutting through the gloom. Mom, Dad, can we talk? Her curious gaze shifted between them, sensing the emotional battle. John felt a flicker of hope as his daughter stepped into the light. Maybe she could be the bridge they needed. Sure, sweetie, Sarah replied, her tone softening. I overheard you too. I'm not mad, but Ella paused, gathering her thoughts. I understand what you're trying to do. Honestly, I do. But it hurts. Her eyes glistened with tears. I don't want to drop out, but I feel so much pressure because of everything happening. I'm just trying to help. A lump formed in John's throat. He wanted to reach out, to wrap his arms around his daughter, but he felt trapped by his own failings. Ella, I never wanted you to feel that way, he said, his voice trembling. I just wanted to protect you, teach you what mattered. I thought you thought wrong, Dad. Ella's voice broke. We can learn things without manipulating our reality. We want to be proud of who we are, not who we pretend to be. John felt her words cut through him. She was right. The life lessons he intended to impart had devolved into a cruel facade. Sarah interjected, a new strength blossoming in her voice. We need to be honest with each other. We can rebuild trust, but it starts now. As the gravity of their situation settled, Jake appeared at the doorway, confusion etched on his face. Is everything okay? He asked, a shadow of worry passing over him. John exchanged a glance with Sarah and Ella, feeling the weight of his family's eyes on him. They once thrived on joy, laughter, and collective victory. Now, they stood fractured, each needing something different to heal. Let us talk, Jake, John said, his heart racing at the challenge ahead. It might not be easy, but I promise we'll get through it together. As they pulled the last vestiges of comfort around them, John understood the journey they were set to embark on. The path to redemption wouldn't be straightforward, but perhaps in their struggle, they could rediscover the real meaning of family. And just as hope began to shimmer in the distance, a notification pinged on the family's phone, the reminder that they weren't alone in this fight. John's heart raced. What secrets might that little device hold? What would it reveal about their community, their shared journey? In that moment, a significant transformation awaited them all. John's heart pounded as he reached for the phone, the notification glowing like a beacon in the darkened room. Against the backdrop of their fractured conversations, it felt almost surreal, an intruder into their moment of reckoning. With a trembling finger, he tapped the screen, his mind racing. What could be so important now? The message opened up. It was an alert from their local community group. A charity event had been announced, aimed at supporting underprivileged families. It reminded him of the projects he used to champion before his misguided plan consumed his focus. Watching his kid struggle to adjust to his new rules had pushed those memories aside. Look, he said, breaking the charged silence. It's the charity event we used to be involved in. The words hung in the air, twisting together old hopes with fresh realizations. Ella stepped closer, curiosity sparking in her eyes. Are we going? We could help organize it. Her excitement shimmered through the tension, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Can we, Dad? Please? Jake added, moving beside her, an eagerness flushing his cheeks. I want to help people who can't afford things we take for granted. John felt warmth gathering in his chest, fighting against the echoes of guilt. Perhaps this could be a step toward healing. Maybe we can, he replied, searching their faces for encouragement. But if we do this, we have to do it as a family. No hidden agendas. Sarah nodded, a flicker of hope igniting in her eyes. That sounds good. Let us show them what we can do together. For the first time in weeks, John felt the corners of his mouth lift. He scanned the siblings, their enthusiasm was infectious. Together, they could turn this crisis into an opportunity for connection. But the thought of exposing themselves, revealing their flaws to others, still loomed heavy. A sudden laugh broke the moment as Ella playfully nudged Jake. Maybe we can raise money for your video games, she teased. You know, for the kids who don't have them. Jake laughed, the sound brightening the air like fireworks. Yeah, then we can all have a family tournament. You just want to crush me at Mario Kart. John's laughter mingled with theirs, bridging the gap carved by his previous actions. In that moment, he realized with clarity how important it was for them all to step outside their bubble. But doubt flickered back, whispering questions he feared to ask. Were they ready to face not just their issues, but how others perceived their struggles? As they began to discuss logistics for the charity event, John felt a warmth surrounding him, a resurgence of hope sparking in unexpected places. Yet, underneath, a darker uncertainty lurked. The notifications kept coming, brightening the screen with new messages. A volunteer request, an offer for donations, potential sponsors, a rush of activity surrounding their community. But what if those messages held more than just opportunities? What if they contained judgments? What if others discovered their reality? Ella reached out and squeezed his hand, sensing his rising apprehension. Dad, we can really make a difference. Together, not just as a family, but as a part of something bigger. Her comforting grip ignited a sense of resolve within him. If they took this leap, it might not only heal their family but teach their community something vital about resilience too. After all, the hardest lessons often led to the most beautiful transformations. As their planning took shape, a sudden new notification with an ominous tone slipped through. It was a message from one of John's closest friends, a friend who surely knew too much about the truth of the last few months. What could that mean? In that moment, uncertainty gripped John once more. Would the revelation bring them closer to redemption, or would it shatter what fragile foundation they were rebuilding? His mind raced with thoughts as he shared a worried glance with Sarah. The journey to reclaim their sense of family was just beginning, and the next turn could change everything. The atmosphere shifted as John stared at the phone, his heart sinking under the weight of dread. He blinked rapidly, trying to shake off the dread threatening to overwhelm him. His friend, Mike, had been his steadfast ally, a confidant through thick and thin. Yet lately, the cracks in their friendship had begun to show, driven by unsaid words and secrets. Should I open it? He asked softly, glancing at Sarah for reassurance. She met his gaze with a steady look, a silent reminder that they were in this together. Open it, she said, her voice a whisper of encouragement. As he held the phone with sweaty palms, the screen brightened, revealing a simple message: "Hey, John. I think we need to talk about the event. And about you. Can we meet?" He let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. The uncertainty twisted in his stomach like a ball of yarn, tangled and unresolved. What did Mike really know? Did he have a plan to confront John about his failures? Was this the end of their friendship? False bravado masked his inner turmoil, but the shadow of doubt loomed. Yet at that moment, Jake piped up, breaking the thick tension. "Can I help with the art for the charity? I have some ideas for posters." John turned to his son, the eagerness in Jake's eyes brought warmth flooding back. "Yes. That would be fantastic, buddy. Maybe we can draw pictures, too, to show why people should donate," Ella chimed in, clapping her hands. "We can make it fun. Let us create something that gets everyone excited," Sarah added, her smile wide. Just like that, hope laced the air, lifting John's spirit. Perhaps the togetherness they were seeking was right there in front of them. Okay then, brainstorming session. John said, his voice a bit steadier. Let us get some paper and start jotting down ideas. As they gathered materials scattered around the living room, the atmosphere thickened with possibility. Markers and color paper came alive under their hands as laughter and light banter filled the space. They tossed around crazy ideas, everything from flashy visuals to heartwarming messages that tugged at heartstrings. With each suggestion, snippets of warmth wrapped around John's heart, pushing away remnants of his prior turmoil. It felt good to create something, to embrace the moment with his children and push the doubts down where they belonged. But amidst the laughter, the lingering weight of Mike's message clung to his thoughts. Was he really ready to face whatever lay ahead? Would he be able to maintain the balance between this newfound connection with his family and the skeletons in his closet that Mike threatened to unearth? Suddenly, Jake paused mid-sketch, an odd look crossing his face. Dad? Are you okay? You seem kinda off. John inhaled deeply, the love radiating from his kid steadying him. I'm good, I promise. Just thinking about everything that's happening. Ella tilted her head, studying him closely. You're not going to back out, are you? We're a team now, right? Her earnest eyes pierced through his doubts. Of course not, he said, forcing a smile. We're in this together, no turning back. Just as they were about to dive back into their collaborative whirlwind of creativity, John's phone buzzed again. The screen flashed with another message from Mike. John, it's important. You need to know something. Fear and curiosity battled within him. What was it that Mike wanted to reveal? And would it break the momentum they were trying to build as a family? The room began to feel small, shadows creeping back in. John glanced up at his children, determination flaring anew within him. Whatever lay ahead, he would face it not just for himself but for them. All right, everyone. Let us finish our ideas first. Then, I'll see what Mike has to say. But internally, he felt the strain of many stories intertwined. The real test of their family bond was just on the horizon. Would they rise above it, or would the truth bring crashing down what they had just begun to build? As laughter filled the room, the colorful markers danced across the page, leaving behind bright streaks and whimsical shapes. Jake and Ella dived into their creative project, their youthful enthusiasm a balm against John's rising anxiety. Yet, amidst this joy, John's heart remained heavy, its rhythm a frantic drum echoing the turmoil in his mind. Look! I made a giant heart! Ella exclaimed, her drawing a swirl of colors and exaggerated lines. That's amazing! John praised, crouching down to admire it. In that moment, her innocence reminded him why he needed to push through his worries. They were designing something meaningful, something that could help others. But he could feel the weight of Mike's words pressing down like an anchor. John took a deep breath as he watched his kids drawing with passion, wondering how long he could keep the truth about his struggles hidden from them. Dad? Jake's voice pulled him from his thoughts again. Can you help me with this part? Sure, buddy. Just tell me what you need. As they worked side by side, John forced himself to engage, sketching silly cartoons to go along with Jake's serious message about helping the less fortunate. Yet, the two halves of his life seemed stark, one filled with laughter and love, the other cast in shadows and unanswered questions. The more they created, the more John fought against the gnawing concern in his gut. How could he confess his doubts to Mike, his closest friend? What would Mike's revelation do to this newfound light within their home? As they finished up the art project, the kids beamed with pride, holding their brightly adorned sheets like trophies. This simple act seemed monumental, stitching together their family in a way that felt almost sacred. Let us take some pictures, Sarah said, her excitement spilling over like a waterfall. They all gathered, arms around each other with their artwork held high. Click. The camera captured the moment, freezing it in time. The bright colors around them reflected the joy in their hearts. In that instant, John felt a surge of hope aflicker amid the uncertainty about tomorrow. But just as he was about to relish in this feeling, his phone buzzed once more. The message screen lit up with urgency. "John, we really need to talk. It's about the event. I can't wait any longer." A chilly wave washed over him. He could sense that whatever Mike had to say was far more significant than just his past mistakes or insecurities. Mike was known for handling sensitive matters with gravity, and John was not prepared for what lay ahead. John's heart raced as he formulated a response, penny pinching the lightheartedness of the day and squeezing it into something serious. "Hold on," he told his family, stepping away to compose himself, his heart pounding. "Is everything okay, Dad?" Jake asked, sensing the shift in mood. "Just a minute, I'll be right back," John answered, feeling the walls of the room constricting around him, isolating him from the warmth of his family like a protective shell he would soon have to crack open. Standing alone in the hallway, facing the wall, he could feel the walls of truth closing in. The promise of joy from the art session made way for the urgent call of reality. A shiver of dread mixed with the flicker of hope as he texted back, "Let us meet. I'm ready." He stood in silence, staring at the blank wall, thinking about the road ahead. What awaited him on the other side of this conversation with Mike? Could his world maintain its balance, or was he about to bring down everything he had just begun to build? As he returned to the sunny room where his children awaited, a flutter of doubt danced through him again. Could he keep the joy alive in their family while treading the treacherous waters of truths unearthed? "Hey, just so you know," John said softly as he walked back into the room. "I might need your support soon." His kids looked up at him, confused yet curious. Their eyes sparkled with a love that made him believe it was possible to face whatever came next together, and as they leaned back into their creations, John wondered, was he strong enough to lift the veil off his past and face it head-on, or would it all unravel at the seams? The laughter faded, but the vibrant energy lingered in the air like afterimages of fireflies. John settled back into the couch, positioning himself between Jake and Ella, who were still buzzing with excitement over their masterpiece. As art filled the room, John's thoughts raced off to meet Mike. "Dad, look what we drew next." Jake pulled John from his spiral of apprehension. The boy's eyes sparkled with a blend of innocence and determination, his tiny fingers pointing at fresh scribbles across the paper. "That's great, buddy. What's this?" John asked, genuinely interested now. Jake proudly explained the meaning behind his drawings, each one a little story about helping others, a mission that had sprung from their dinner conversations. Seeing that passion visible through crayons and markers was a balm for John's heavy heart, even if just for a moment, but behind Jake's enthusiasm, a knot tightened in John's stomach. The weight of what awaited him later gnawed at him, shadowing these fleeting moments of joy. He painted on a smile, he absorbed their laughter, but curiosity hung like a veil. What did Mike need to say? Why now? "Hey Dad, can we put this up in the living room?" Ella asked, her voice brightening even the murky thoughts clouding his mind. "Absolutely. That's a masterpiece," John replied, fighting to keep the excitement genuine. He stood, guiding his children towards the hallway and some Scotch tape, but his eyes wandered outside the window for a moment. The world beyond seemed oblivious to his turmoil, children playing, laughter echoing down the street, while his world felt like a delicate glass bubble, ready to shatter. They attached the artwork proudly to the wall, a colorful testament of family bond and love. As the kids beamed at their creation, John felt a flicker of hope return. Maybe revealing his past wouldn't break them. Maybe it would strengthen their bond instead. "Dad?" Jake's voice interrupted his thoughts again. "Will everything be all right?" John blinked, realizing how much his son sensed. "Yeah, Jake. Just some stuff I have to deal with. But I promise, we're good." Ella tugged at his shirt, eyes wide open like saucers, searching him for reassurance. Her small hand fit perfectly in his. "We can help you, you know." The sincerity in her words struck John deeply. He squeezed her hand gently, warmth flooding through him. "I know, Angel. I know. And I appreciate that." The atmosphere shifted slightly as his phone buzzed again. The chime pulled John's attention harder than before. It was Mike again, a simple follow-up, "Are you there?" "Let us finish up for now," John said softly, gathering his children into a hug. Their laughter filled the room once more, wrapping around him like a warm blanket just when he needed it most. With a final glance at their artwork, John took a deep breath. The moment felt right to tackle the challenges to come. He could feel his family's love surrounding him like a shield, but could that shield hold strong against the storm ahead? He stood in the doorway, ready to head outside, his heart pounding like a drum, each beat echoing the questions that vibrated through his mind. What truths were waiting to be unearthed, not just for him, but for them all? As he picked up his phone, hand trembling slightly, he caught the concerned eyes of his children looking back at him. "Just a minute," he reassured them, even as uncertainty surged. He hit reply, and his thumb hovered over the screen. "Yes. Let us meet." Would this meeting unravel all the warmth and love they had just shared? Or would it lead them to a deeper understanding of one another? His heart raced, the silence of the moment heavy with unspoken questions. What lay ahead? John stepped outside into the fresh air, the cool breeze brushing against his face. The world around him felt so vivid, colors sharper, sounds clearer as he forced himself to focus. He took a deep breath and looked down at his phone. The screen glowed in the dimming daylight, a small symbol of the weight he was about to carry. Just one step at a time, he whispered to himself, trying to drown out the noise in his head. He could still hear Ella and Jake giggling inside, their laughter a bittersweet reminder of what was truly at stake. 3 minutes late, Mike, he mumbled as he glanced at the modest clock on the old oak tree in his front yard, the one he and Ella had decorated with their own painted flowers last summer. The hands ticked mercilessly forward. He didn't want his children to see the worry etched across his face. The moment felt like a crossover, standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to plunge into the unknown. Every one of Mike's messages felt urgent, but John couldn't shake the dread coming from the pit of his stomach. Suddenly, a familiar car pulled up, its rumble felt out of place in the serene neighborhood. Mike stepped out, his expression earnest. While they had maintained a healthy distance over the years, John could tell this wasn't just a casual visit. For a fleeting moment, he thought about running back inside, burying the past deeper, but the resolve of his children's laughter echoed in his mind. "Hey," Mike greeted, offering a nod that felt more like a prelude to what was about to be said than a casual hello. He was dressed in that tailored suit, the kind that always made John feel less than. "Let us get this over with," John replied, in a tone that was flat yet edged with vulnerability. "What's so important that you needed me to meet? Can we just talk somewhere private?" Mike asked, the concern prominent in his voice. Without waiting for an answer, John turned and led Mike to the backyard. The sun was slowly sinking down, casting long shadows that danced across the grass. There was an odd beauty in the setting, and for a moment John wished he could hold on to it before facing the words that would likely shatter that tranquility. "Okay, Mike. What is it?" John demanded, trying to keep the tremor from his voice. "I found something." Mike hesitated, his eyes searching John's face as if trying to approach the subject delicately. "It's about your family, about people you thought you lost." John's heart dropped. "What do you mean? Are you talking about my brother?" The sting of unresolved connection surged, thicker than ever. "Not just him," Mike said, glancing away as if uncomfortable. "There's more. You need to understand the truth before it finds you anyway." The tone of those words began to unravel a tight knot in John's chest, a fateful twist that felt too big to contain. "What are you saying? Just tell me," he urged, desperation creeping into his voice. Mike took a deep breath. "You need to know your father never told you everything. He hid a treasure of information that could change everything you think you know about your family." John felt the world tilt as confusion washed over him. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Mike's eyes turned serious, and the air around them thickened. He was protecting you. But it's time you found out the truth, John. Time to dig deep past all the laughter, past the scribbles on the wall and confront what's buried. As he stood there, reality hit. Shadows stretched longer, the laughter inside faded, and the truth sank deeper. How would this revelation change the life they had built? Would it tear apart everything he'd worked so hard to protect? Wait, what truths? What is buried? John demanded, fear fueling the urgency of his words. Just then, a sudden realization dawned on him. What else had he kept hidden, from himself as much as from his children? As the sun dipped below the horizon, the shadows loomed larger, and he knew the answers he sought were closer than they appeared. With his heart racing, John took a step toward Mike, determined to unravel this mystery and confront whatever lay ahead. What did he really know about his family? And more importantly, what did he need to find out about himself? As the sky turned darker, John understood one thing: the storm of revelations had just struck. He braced himself for impact, knowing it would change everything. John swallowed hard, the weight of Mike's words wrapping around him like a heavy cloak. What do you mean my father was hiding something? His voice wavered, battling between anger and fear. Why would he do that? Mike shifted, looking down at the grass as if searching for an answer buried beneath it. Sometimes, parents think they're protecting their children by shielding them from painful truths. I know it sounds cliché, but this isn't just about you. It's about your whole family. The leaves rustled in the breeze, and John could hear Jake's voice echoing in his mind. Innocent laughter mixed with the shadows of his past, setting his heart in two directions at once. What exactly did my dad hide? He pressed, growing impatient. The urgency clawed at him, pushing away the fleeting moments of warmth he shared with Ella and Jake inside. Mike finally looked up, fierce determination shining in his eyes. A will, John. A will that outlines not only financial matters but family issues that reach further back than you realize. It holds secrets your father was afraid would tear you apart. Secrets about your brother, and about your mother. The mention of his mother sent a shockwave through him. She had always been a figure shrouded in mystery, her absence heavy in the air like an uninvited guest at a gathering. Events spun in his mind: a missed birthday here, an unanswered call there. What did he say? What's in this will? He left explicit instructions to be opened only after his passing. I'm afraid. Mike hesitated, the gravity of his confession palpable in the fading light. He thought you'd be better off not knowing. John felt a rush of emotions: betrayal, sorrow, anger. Better off? Is that what he thought? Keeping me in the dark while I'm raising my kids without truths that define who we are? Exactly, Mike said gently. But it's time to confront this. Holding it in might seem safer, but secrets fester. I wanted to gently nudge you towards the truth before it breaks out into the open without your consent. Do you have this will? John's heart pounded. A single document held the potential to rewrite everything he thought he knew about his family, every carefully constructed piece of his life. I do, Mike admitted, looking more conflicted than ever, like a friend about to betray another. But we can't just read it in the backyard. It needs to be approached in a private manner, with care. Let us go, John declared, fire igniting in his chest. The time for uncertainty was over. The world and his family depended on the truths hidden in shadows for too long. Show me where it is. Together they stepped back toward the house, the twilight sky casting a mysterious hue over their journey. John's breath quickened, he was already envisioning a different reality. How would Ella and Jake react to the truth? Would they be ready to face it? As they went to retrieve the will, the weight of generations pressed down upon John. The laughter of his children rang in his ears, and he knew everything was about to change. This moment could unravel the very fabric of their lives, but there was a still, quiet voice inside him whispering the words he needed to hear: "It's okay to be scared. Change can be a path toward healing." He felt a flicker of hope, a glimmer that maybe, just maybe, they could emerge stronger. With each step, he felt the shadows recede just a bit, and the uncertain dawn of discovery pulled him forward. What truths lay waiting to be uncovered? What history would reshape their family? Tonight, beneath the veil of secrets, their story was about to take a new turn. As doors opened, revealing glimpses into the past, John's heart raced. Was he ready to face the revelations ahead? The will might unleash storms, but it could also spark a journey they never anticipated. As they entered the house, the air shifted around John. It felt thick, electric, like the stillness just before a storm. Mike led him through the dimly lit hallway, each step echoing with a sense of impending revelation. The walls, adorned with family photos, seemed to watch, as if holding their own quiet histories. John's fingers brushed against a frame of Ella and Jake, their smiles frozen in time. If only they knew what was hidden not far beneath the surface. "Down here," Mike whispered, gesturing toward a small door at the end of the hall. It was unassuming, yet it felt heavy with secrets. The basement often felt like an afterthought, a place where forgotten memories collected dust, much like the truths that had been hidden from John. As they descended the creaky wooden stairs, John felt a lump in his throat. Each step felt like a journey into the depths of his family's past, the good, the bad, and everything in between. The basement was dimly lit, a single bulb hanging overhead, casting long shadows on the cool concrete floor. "Here," Mike said, pointing to a metal box that sat on a small table against the wall. It looked plain and unremarkable, but to John, it felt monumental. He could already feel the weight of it pressing down on him, the stories and histories locked away inside. He reached for the box with trembling hands. "What is going to be in there?" His voice cracked slightly, the uncertainty making his heart race. "Whatever your father chose to reveal, and perhaps things he didn't want you to know," Mike replied softly, his eyes reflecting the unease they both felt. John's fingers brushed over the cold metal. It was locked. He sighed, searching for a key, but Mike shook his head. "You'll need this," he said, handing John a small, ornate key that looked like it had seen better days. As John inserted the key into the lock, he felt as though time stood still. Would there be answers? Questions? Or perhaps unresolved grief? The soft click echoed like a gunshot in the silence. He lifted off the lid, and the hinges creaked, revealing a stack of papers carefully folded. His hands shook as he picked them up, the scent of aged paper filling the air. The first page sent his breath hitching. It was a letter, his father's handwriting scrawled across it with a rushed urgency that felt all too raw. "John," he began. "If you're reading this, it means I'm not here anymore. I want you to understand that I loved you and your brother deeply. But there were parts of our family's story I kept from you for fear of what it would mean." His heart raced as he read on, the words spilled out, heavy with emotion, recounting family events he knew little about. Stories of love, jealousy, struggles, and a bond that customers couldn't sever. Secrets surrounding his mother's absence, truths he didn't want to face but desperately needed to know. What does it say?" Mike's voice interrupted the silence, bringing John back from the weight of memories flooding his mind. John looked up, his eyes glistening with unshed tears, a mixture of confusion and the stirring of hope. "It's everything," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "This could change everything." As he thumbed through the next pages, he could sense the shadows of the past stretching and morphing into something different, something that could potentially bridge the gaps in their family. There was so much to process, yet the mixture of fear and curiosity stirred something deep within him. "Are you ready for this?" Mike asked, gauging the depth of what lay before them. "I don't know," John admitted. But he felt it, a flicker of light, a chance for understanding and healing that lay just beyond the horizon. The sound of footsteps echoed in his mind, a familiar rhythm he could almost hear. It was Jake and Ella, innocent, whole, and blissfully unaware of the storms brewing just outside their safe bubble. With a swallow, John decided, I have to share this with them. They need to know our story, every part of it. But he hesitated. What if the revelations tore them apart instead? What if the truths buried in this box were too heavy to bear? As he took a deep, steadying breath, he glanced at Mike, whose eyes were both supportive and wary. Let us do it together, Mike suggested, as if sensing John's uncertainty. Together, they began to sift through the layers of history. The past was ready to resurface, and John felt both terrified and excited. What ripple effects would these secrets have on his family? Would the truth bring them closer or push them further apart? John sat in silence, clutching the letter from his father, its weight heavier than the box it came in. The words, "A bridge to the untold," danced across his thoughts. As he turned the pages, memories stirred, sweet moments of laughter now tempered by the shadows creeping in. What if they're ready for this? He pondered, glancing at Mike for reassurance. Sometimes it's the truth that sets us free, Mike said gently, even when it's hard to swallow. Taking a deep breath, John resolved to face the truth. The only path forward lay in shared vulnerability, not just for him, but for his children Ella and Jake. Let us gather them. They need to hear this, John said, resolve blooming in his heart. As they hurried up the stairs, the rush of footsteps filled the air, confidence restoring a spark of warmth. Would this truth bring them together? Or would it crack the facade, sending cracks through the very foundation of their family? Kids! John called out, his voice ringing with urgency as he stepped into the living room. They looked up from their artwork, curiosity dancing in their eyes. Come here for a second, he said, his tone a blend of determination and tenderness. Ella and Jake exchanged glances, then jumped up, their creations abandoned for the moment. They stood before him, the echoes of their previous laughter fading into quiet anticipation. Oh, Dad's serious, Jake joked lightly, but the worry was evident. Everything all right? Ella asked, her bright smile dimming. It's about our family, John began, each word feeling like a prelude to a storm. He took a deep breath, gathering courage. I found something that could change how we see ourselves, a letter from Grandpa. What do you mean? Jake furrowed his brow, while Ella's gaze locked onto her father's. This letter, it contains secrets about our past, about Grandma, about our family history. Things I didn't know, but need to pass on. The room fell silent as the weight of his words sank in. What kind of secrets? Ella's voice quivered slightly. Let me show you, John replied, his heart pounding. He beckoned them closer, and Mike stepped forward, placing the letter in John's hands. He opened it, feeling the coolness of the paper against his fingers as anticipation crackled in the air. I'll start reading, he said, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. Slowly, he shared the letter, revealing tales of struggle, sacrifice, and the love intertwined with their family's struggles. With each word, he unfolded their truth, letting the raw fabric of their legacy seep into the atmosphere. John felt Jake inch closer, forcing himself to focus on the poignant moments from the letter, stories that wove them together with threads sometimes frayed but never broken. He glanced at Ella's face, her expression a mixture of disbelief and understanding. Why did Grandpa keep this hidden? She asked softly. Didn't he trust us? Sometimes, John replied, forcing the words free from an old knot in his throat, parents think keeping things from us will protect us. But it can just create more distance. As he shared the final paragraphs, he saw the emotions bubbling beneath Jake's surface. Dad, Jake's voice finally cracked, what if the truth is too painful? Some truths are heavy, but they can also be a catalyst for healing. John said, feeling his own heart surge as light dawned in Jake's eyes. Facing them together, we have the chance to grow stronger as a family. I want that for us. Ella reached for Jake's hand, holding it tightly. We can do this together. Whatever's next, we'll face it. You're right, John said, hot tears of gratitude pooling in his eyes. Unseen warmth enveloped them as moments passed, hearts brimming with a sense of belonging none of them had expected. In that shared vulnerability, they felt the storm begin to clear, honest sunlight streaming through. Just then, Sarah entered, sensing the shift in the room. "What's happening?" The children spun around, their energy now contagious. "We were just learning about family," Ella beamed, pulling her mother into their circle, while Jake nodded, excitement growing in his voice. "Dad found a letter from Grandpa, and we're ready to understand it together." "Oh my goodness!" Sarah exclaimed. Her eyes glimmered with surprise. "Now this sounds like an important moment." "It is," John confirmed, his heart swelling with pride and hope. "We're setting up a family meeting. Understanding who we are at our core can change everything." Sarah glanced at him, her expression softening. "I'm proud of you for sharing this," she said, wrapping her arms around John's waist. The warmth of her embrace brought immense comfort, rooting him firmly in this moment of transformation. Together, they settled on the couch, the stories folding into their shared narrative as they prepared to explore how they fit into the fabric of their family's past. Just as they started to dive deeper, Jake's excitement peeked through. "When can we start helping with the charity event?" John chuckled, the joy pouring forth like a fountain. "Tomorrow. Let us pour our hearts into it together. This will not only help others but grow us." As they rallied together, stitching together their dreams with threads of resilience and truth, John realized, amid laughter and light, their family was ready to embrace the unknown, the journey ahead shimmering in every heartfelt moment they shared. The challenges awaited, but now, hand in hand, they felt capable of conquering anything the world laid at their feet. And in that light, John found renewed hope, flooded with love as his family held steadfast, ready to embark on their next chapter together. As the sun dipped low, the warmth of newfound understanding blanketed them like a sweet summer's evening, beckoning them forward into the dawn of their family's true story. Now, if you're feeling this transformation, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending. Let us share in this journey together. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful transformation. Let us spread the love and positivity.